Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And a single card this time. Usually I tend to make a couple of the same sort of style, etc. But this video, just a single card. We're going to do some ink blending on die cuts. One of the things I really enjoy doing. This time, instead of doing like light, medium, dark shade, because I'm using Simon's Pawsitively saturated inks, which you can get them in trios, etc. We're going to do some creative mixing of colors. I was really inspired by flowers in my little planters out front, and I had taken a photo of them a couple months ago. I'll show that photo in the video because it was some sort of unique color blends. So we're going to do some color blending. We're going to use a little Hummingbird wafer dyes that are from Simon's newest release. We're going to use some distress spritz, bit of splatter, a little baker's twine, same old, same old. As always, everything I used will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It's what helps fund the channel, pay the bills, all the things. And let's get into making this card. So I was inspired by my osteospermum, hopefully I pronounced that right, aka African daisies, that I generally plant in my planters every year, and they have like some of the neatest color variation, you know, on the petals, and love. So that's where I took inspiration. And I'm using the Cosmos Duo wafer dyes, the Delicate Hummingbird Duo wafer dyes, and the Abundant Leaves. The Abundant Leaves I used in a previous video. I've actually used it in tons of videos. It's an older one, and I only die cut the smallest little leaf cluster. And for my greens, I'm using LIMELICIOUS, FAIRWAY, and Lucky. I pulled 3 different greens from 3 different color trios of the Pawsitively saturated inks because I was mimicking the colors that I had in that photo. And the nice thing too about the Pawsitively saturated inks is they smooth and blend on their own. They will dry back, which means they will soften a bit, they will lighten a bit, but then they also just kind of blend, which I really like because then I don't have to put in as much effort. Because I mean it when I say I'm just slapping color on. With these I do. You just slap the color on. It's so nice. I love it. So that's what I did. I have all my die cuts stuck to a big Altenew like sticky mat, grip mat. And then for this next combo, I'm using Zest, Honey, Amethyst, and Bubblegum. And I'm just starting with, I'm using the small blending brushes, and then I also bring in the little round detail ones. But for these ones, I started with the Honey shade, which is the darker yellow, or no, I started with Zest and then added a bit of that Honey shade on the very kind of edges of these little petals. And all of these were die cut from Simon's Smooth White 120 pound cardstock. And then after I blended those 2 yellows, I'm going in with the Bubblegum, and this is where I switched to the little round detail brush because we're getting into little narrower areas here. So I'm going to blend it out with that, and then I'm going to add the Amethyst shade. And I love how these ones turned out, this color blend, because this is one I've attempted, I think, in past videos, because it is one of my just favorites. I love how it goes from like a purple, you know, right at the tip of the base of the petals. It goes from like a purple to just a hint of a pink to yellow. Like, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I love it. And this combo, chef's kiss. I nailed it. Love when that happens. So then for the other combo, I started with the Honey, adding just a smidge right on the very edges. And then I'm going to go in with that Bubblegum pink and just like basically put that on the entire thing. And then I'm going to pull in Sweets ink, which is a much deeper shade of pink. So I'm going to get that Bubblegum on there first. And then I'm going to switch to the little detail round brush. And I'm going to add in the Sweets ink for this and blend that out. And then this one's starting to come together too. And then over that, I will layer a bit more of that Amethyst just to deepen again, right where like the base of these petals are. And this one too, this combo, yeah, I love it. I love it. When everything fully dries and they're all blended together and smooth out, it's just perfection. Love it. So add in that little bit of amethyst, and that was the like kind of color blends for these florals and the greenery. So after I did that for the flower centers, I decided to keep color mixing. You could just use one color for this. It doesn't really make that big of a difference, but I used mocha and woodsy. Woodsy being a more kind of very neutral sort of brown, like a gray brown. So I added mocha first, and then I added in the woodsy. And then for my little hummingbirds here, I'm going to use some of the same colors as the florals, but I'm also going to pull in surf and ocean. So I've got surf, ocean, LIMELICIOUS, amethyst, and I'm also going to pull in a bit of bubblegum because why not? They're hummingbirds. They're going to be extra colorful because it's fun. So I'm going to start blending these, and I started with surf, and for these I was using just, those little detail round brushes because these little hummingbirds are so little. They're so cute. I've done videos with the other ones that Simon has, like the larger ones, and then this little set of 2 is part of the newest release, and I was just giddy when I opened the package, and I was like, they're just so little. I love it. They make the flowers look absolutely enormous, but I'm more than okay with that. Why not? So blended them together, layered up different colors. And then to assemble, all of this was super, super simple. With the flowers, you just stick the flower center on. That's it. Super simple. Like no crazy layering or anything like that. Although if you really wanted to make them look fuller, you could kind of offset and like layer a couple together if you wanted to create a fuller flower, but I was happy with how they are. And then the little hummingbird, super simple. You just adhere the little piece that has the beak, and then you adhere the body piece over top of that, and then you adhere the wing, and that's it. And then you got these little adorable little hummingbirds. Like seriously, how cute are these? So cute. Absolutely love them. So I adhered everything together. I didn't adhere the blooms to the stems because I'm going to do that when I assemble them directly onto my card front. And then I decided, I was like, because I was thinking about the whole time I was ink blending, I was like, do I want to add shimmer? Of course I want to add shimmer. That's, of course. Why do I even ask myself? So I'm going to use the Distress Spritz. I've used these in several videos since they were released. If you're not familiar with the Distress Spritz, like always, I highly recommend checking out Tim Holt's YouTube channel. He did an entire video explaining absolutely everything with these. The more I play with them, the more fun I'm having. So for the little yellowy blooms, I used fossilized amber Distress Spritz. You just got to make sure to shake it up really, really well. Make sure there's no chunky shimmery bits sitting in the bottom of the bottle. And then I stuck the pieces into just my splat box and gave them a good spritz. So I'll just get splattery shimmer. For these blooms, I'm using picked raspberry. And I will show at the end, I'll turn my flashlight on so you guys can actually see the sparkle. The thing I really like about these is because they're just shimmer, like the liquid in them has no colorant to it. So I'm spraying them on things that have multiple ink colors and also water reactive inks, but the shimmer doesn't, or like the spray doesn't cover these. Like it's not altering the color I've put down. It's just adding the shimmery bits. So like even on these little hummingbirds, that one I used the Wilted Violet Distress Spritz, and it's just going to add like the purple, the purple shimmer, but it doesn't add like purple liquid. Does that make sense? Same with like the greenery. I used the Twisted Citron, and it's not blending together or anything. It's not covering up those ink blends that I did because I really like how that like combo turned out, but it adds sparkle, and I'm here for that. So I set all those aside after I was done getting them all sparkly. And then I pulled out, this is the Bold Thanks Sentiment Wafer Die from Simon Says Stamp. This has been out for eons. I've used this in like a million videos. It's one of my favorites. And I die cut it from just scraps of smooth white cardstock. and I'm stacking those together as is tradition. So I got 3 layers of that stacked together using my craft tacky glue. And then the little sentiment strips are also something I've used a million times. I've repurchased this. It's one of the pre-printed sentiment strip packs from Simon, the thanks one. And I just trimmed down a couple with my paper trimmer. And then for my card base, I cut a sheet of steel cardstock in half. Was it steel? Is that the color I used? I can't even remember, you guys. What color? I think it's steel. Slate? It's listed in the supplies. Dark gray. I thought it would make the colors really pop. So I did that for my card base. So top folding A2 note card made from that. And then I die cut another piece of that same cardstock with the Pinpoint circle background. I love me full card backgrounds that just do like piercing detail like this. I love it. I just love how it adds texture, but it's not, super busy. It doesn't add a bunch of, and it's not finicky either. It's like I just die cut it and then I glue it to the card base, and that's what I did. So I got that adhered to the card base, and then I assembled my florals and my greenery. I super sped this up. This took me a little bit to do. Because floral arrangement still isn't my forte. I'm getting better at it, but it's not something I'm super comfortable with. And plus I changed my mind with how I was going to do absolutely everything on this card. So I just fiddled around and just adhered the stems and the leaves and the florals just kind of all over this card, leaving space for my sentiment. That's why I've got kind of like that open area on the bottom right of this card front. But got everything adhered and then let that glue dry. Flip this over and just use my scissors to trim off everything that was hanging over the edges of the card. And then decided that I wanted to add more splatter. So I'm going to use the Spellbinders Splatter White Opaque Watercolor. Shown this in a couple of videos recently as well because I finally got my hands on this. This has been out for a few months, something like that. I'm really liking it. So took a little bit out, put it on my palette, add a little bit of water to thin it down. And then I'm just using my little fan brush and I'm just going to add this to my card front again, just cause, So once I was done with adding that bit of splatter, again, got to let that dry. Didn't take very long. And then I'm going to add a little bit of baker's twine. So I'm going to wrap some baker's twine around my card front here. And then, as always, reverse tweezers for the win. I start my knot. I get my reverse tweezers to pinch that and hold it closed so that I can fiddle making my little bow. Because if you've ever worked with baker's twine, because it's multiple strings twisted together, it can get a little finicky if you're not careful and you don't want to pull it tight until you get everything adjusted, because otherwise it starts to twist, if that makes sense. And then the bow looks all wonky. So reverse tweezers for the win. And once I had that in place, I'm going to adhere my die cut sentiment right above the baker's twine there. And then my little companion sentiment I'm going to pop on with thin little foam squares that I'm just going to cut in half so that I can stick those on that and then adhere that directly below the die cut sentiment. And then for my little hummingbirds, I'm going to use just a combo of the thin foam squares and some craft tacky glue to adhere them to my card. And this was what I meant. They make the flowers look enormous because they're so little, but I love it. They're so cute. Seriously. So I adhered those into place. I was originally going to put one on the card front, but then I decided the other one, there was just that perfect opening there right above the sentiment for the other one. So stuck that into place as well. And then on the inside of the card, I had kept one of the blooms, one of the little leaf clusters, and then of course another one of those pre-printed sentiments that I had trimmed down. So I'm going to adhere all these little elements to the inside of the card. This time I decided not to line the inside of my card. Usually when I use dark cardstock like this as my base, I'll put like a panel of white cardstock on the inside. And that just makes it a little easier, to write something. But because this cardstock is such a dark gray, I can still use either just a black pen and that'll show up, or I would use like a white gel pen, or just a colored gel pen would look really cute too. So I decided not to add white cardstock to the inside of this card because I just liked how these florals looked on that gray cardstock. And then same thing, let the glue dry, flip that over, trimmed off the excess with my scissors. And then as my final little bit of embellishment here, I've got these little Trinity stamps, French Rose hearts. They're super cute and they're shiny and they just went really well with the colors and the shimmeriness and all the things. So I put a few of those onto the card front and then adhered them into place with little dabs of craft tacky glue. And then once I got those adhered, let the glue dry, the card is complete. So there's my little inspiration for the colors. And I think I did. I nailed it this time. A lot of times the idea in my head or what I'm inspired by, it ends up taking a completely different route, which is fine, but it's fun sometimes when I'm able to like pull it all together. And then it's sparkly. So there it is with my flashlight on so you guys can see how like sparkly those distress spritz are. Love. So fun. So like I mentioned in the intro, I'll have links to all the things in the description box below the video. If you expand the description box, it'll all be there. There'll be a link to my blog post. There'll be the supply list with links to everything. You just check that out below. Links to my social media, all of that info is always in the description boxes under my videos. And as always, I appreciate you guys for taking the time, stopping by, thumbs upping, commenting, all the things. And I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in supporting me over on Patreon, the link to that is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye.